Welcome to the Bay, everyone. Today, we've got an absolute heavyweight bout for you. In one corner, we have the legendary RTX 3090, and in the other, the slick new challenger, the RTX 4080. This is a classic battle, really. Old school brute force taking on new school intelligence. So, which one actually deserves a place in your rig? Let's get into it.
In this question, this really gets to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? Are you going to side with the former king, the RTX 3090, with its just insane 24GB VRAM war chest, or do you bet on the new champion, the 4080, armed with a way more advanced architecture and some seriously game-changing tech? It's a tough one.
Alright, so first things first, let's get properly introduced to our two contenders today. We've got the Ampere generation's absolute beast versus the new kid on the block from the Ada Lovelace architecture.
You know, the RTX 3090 almost immediately got this nickname, the VRAM monster. And for good reason. It was really built for creators and the most hardcore enthusiasts, people who needed every last drop of memory for massive projects and insane gaming setups. The RTX 4080, though, it's a different beast. It's way more focused, a modern gaming powerhouse, designed from the get-go for peak efficiency and all the latest next-gen features.
Okay, enough chit-chat. Let's get these cards into the arena and see what the raw numbers have to say. This is where the talk stops and the performance begins.
Whoa, okay, now what's really jumping out at me here is the consistency. Just look at Cyberpunk 2077. The 4080 is hitting 104 FPS on average. That's a solid jump from the 3090's 82. And it's the exact same story in Hogwarts Legacy, going from 95 all the way up to 120 FPS. Then you look at the fast-paced, high-refresh games like Warzone and Fortnite, and yeah, the 4080 just pulls even further ahead. It's a clear lead pretty much across the board.
And this chart just makes it crystal clear, right? When you average everything out, the RTX 4080 is roughly 20 to 30% faster in pure gaming. The key takeaway here is simple. If you're just looking at out-of-the-box frame rates, that newer architecture gives the 4080 a massive, undeniable edge.
But hey, as any of you seasoned builders know, FPS numbers don't tell the whole story. There are always those crucial X factors, the unique tech that really defines what these cards can do. So let's see what kind of special sauce each one brings to the table. So the ace up the RTX 3090's sleeve is that absolutely colossal 24GB VRAM buffer. I mean, this is a total game changer for professionals doing complex 3D rendering or high-res video work. And for gamers, man, if you're someone who loves to push games like Skyrim or Cyberpunk to their absolute limits with huge 4K texture mods, that VRAM buffer is a dream come true. It just soaks up memory that would choke other cards.
The RTX 4080, though, it fights back with pure technology. Its Ada Lovelace architecture is just smarter. It's more efficient, which gives you stronger ray tracing performance right off the bat. But the real killer feature, the knockout punch, is DLSS 3 frame generation. This is AI magic that's exclusive to the 40 series cards, and it can literally create entirely new frames out of thin air, boosting your FPS like crazy. For a gamer, that is a massive, massive advantage.
Performance is one thing, but let's be real, a GPU has to make sense for your wallet and your power supply. So let's break down the cost, the power draw, and maybe the most important question of all, value.
Okay, looking at the specs side by side, the 3090 obviously wins on VRAM, no contest. But the 4080 is way more efficient, pulling 320 watts compared to the 3090's thirstier 350. And then there's the price. The 4080 launched at a lower price, around $1,200 compared to the 3090's original $1,500. So, you're getting more performance for less power at a lower price. That's a really, really strong argument for the 4080.
This brings us to one of my favorite metrics for figuring out what's what, FPS per dollar. It's a super simple calculation that just cuts through all the marketing noise and tells you exactly how much gaming performance you're getting for every single dollar you spend.
And when you run the numbers, it's not even close. The RTX 4080 scores a 0.14 here. That is significantly better than the 3090. So for gamers, the message is pretty stark. The RTX 4080 just flat out offers a much better value for your money if you're building a new machine.
So after all that data, how in the world do you choose? Well, it all comes down to finding the right card for you and your build. So let's help you find your profile.
All right, let's break it down. Are you a 4K gamer who wants the highest frame rates possible, especially with ray tracing on? Then the RTX 4080 with DLSS 3 is your card, period. Same goes if you really care about power efficiency and having a cooler, quieter rig.
But if you're a creator who lives in 3D modeling software, or you're a gamer who absolutely has to run every VRAM heavy mod you can find, then that 24GB buffer on the RTX 3090 still makes a very strong case, especially if you can find a good deal on one. Now, we've based our analysis on a ton of data and benchmarks. And if you want to explore even more games and really dig deep into all the numbers, all the source info is over at bestgpusforgaming.com. They do a fantastic job with their in-depth breakdowns, so definitely go check them out.
And all of this leaves us with one last big question to think about. As these AI features like DLSS3 frame generation get more and more sophisticated, are we heading into an era where raw hardware specs, like VRAM capacity, start to matter less than the actual intelligence of the chip itself? It's definitely something every builder's going to have to consider for their next rig. Thanks for hanging out in the Bay.